Hey friends, Ash here with Gents with another fragrance review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the new Dior Sauvage Parfum. This follows up Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette, Dior Sauvage Very Cool Spray, and Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum. In this video, I'm going to break down this fragrance, let you know how it smells, let you know whether I think it's something you should check out or not, especially for the price that this one is going for, and we'll also take a quick look at that presentation like always. So guys, let's jump into this and break down Dior Sauvage Parfum. First off, let's check out this box. As you can see here, you've got the name of the house, the fragrance, the concentration, and then the size down here on the bottom. There is nothing on the top of the box. You do have these little lines that go around the box to the back and on each side. And here is the bottom of the box with the badge code punched into the box right here. Here we have the bottle for Dior Sauvage Parfum. Looks very similar to the other fragrances in this line. You've got the CD for Christian Dior on top of the cap. This is a magnetic cap, just like the other Sauvage bottles, and you can twist it and it'll pop right off. Again, CD for Christian Dior on top of the atomizer. Atomizer on this fragrance is fantastic, like pretty much all Dior's. You have the little B on the inside of the cap right there. And here's the bottom of the bottle. The badge code is etched into the glass along the rim of the bottom here. The presentation is basically the same as with all the other Dior Sauvages. It is a nice presentation though, and like I said, the atomizer, fantastic. And now it's right up in my face. This fragrance to me has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. We're gonna touch on both of those. At this point, it's safe to say that Dior Sauvage is the focal point of men's Dior fragrances. At this point, I think it's safe to say this is the main line from Dior. This is what's selling, this is what they're pushing. It wouldn't surprise me if in a year and a half, we have Dior Sauvage Absolute, or Dior Sauvage Extreme, or something like that. Dior Fahrenheit, Dior Eau Sauvage, Dior Homme, those lines, they're not really getting that much of attention right now. Dior mainly cares about this. And again, we're talking specifically about the men's line of fragrances. We're not talking about the Privé line, or obviously the women's lines. I pick up the bergamot and the orange in this fragrance pretty much right away, right as soon as you spray it on. Though I would say that it's not a very fresh citrus opening. I know that in the write-up, Dior calls this an extremely fresh fragrance in the opening, but to me it's not really all that fresh off the top. You've got a little bit of elemi that's working with the citrus right off the top, which gives it a little bit of a powdery feel, which detracts from that freshness that they may be trying to get across. After a few minutes, orange becomes the most noticeable note of that citrus combo between the orange and the bergamot. The bergamot starts to fade back a little bit while the orange creeps forward. It does have a very light sparkle to it, the citrus in the opening, but it's more so a little bit of sweetness than it is freshness. One thing that you'll notice right away is the sharpness or the metallic note from the Eau de Toilette version of Sauvage is really close to being wiped out in the opening. So if you're familiar with Sauvage Eau de Toilette, which I'm assuming most of you probably are, that metallic note, that metallic feeling is dialed way back. Into the mid, Sauvage Parfum settles into a creamy, sweet sandalwood and tonka mix. There are still some bits of citrus from the opening in the mid here, and then you get a frankincense note that starts coming to the forefront as you head through the mid. There's also a nice dark vanilla note that kind of settles underneath the tonka, the sandalwood, and the frankincense and remaining citrus. It's pleasant, and it does come across like a more mature or sophisticated take on the Dior Sauvage DNA. And even though ambroxan is not an official note in this fragrance, I do pick up some ambroxan heading through the mid. That being said though, the ambroxan in Dior Sauvage Parfum is much lower than in Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. As Sauvage Parfum heads into the dry down, it becomes more and more about the incense. But it's not really like the incense is getting more powerful or anything like that. It's more like the incense, the power of the incense is staying the same as it was in the mid, and all the other notes are fading away. It's not a church incense, it's not a dark incense, it's not an intense incense note. In the dry down, it's more like a light incense that's sweetened up a little bit by that dark vanilla and retains a touch of the creamy sandalwood from the mid. I like the overall scent of Dior Sauvage Parfum, but it doesn't blow me away. It doesn't grab my attention and hold it. It doesn't have a really in-your-face opening like the Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Toilette, you spray that on and it's very brisk and just kind of hits you in the face and has that ambroxan that reels people in, pulls compliments, and lasts all day. And mentioning performance, Dior Sauvage Parfum is not a very good performer off my skin. Actually, performance is a huge issue, if I'm being honest. Dior Sauvage Parfum does not project off my skin. For maybe 45 minutes, it's a decent projector. Not great. I mean, way below what the Eau de Toilette is. But after 45 minutes or so, Dior Sauvage Parfum dies on my skin. It sits within an inch of my skin for the rest of the life of the fragrance. So while it may linger for 8+ hours and sit there on your skin, it's not projecting, and almost nobody is going to be able to pick it up off you. The Eau de Toilette projects much further, much stronger. The Eau de Parfum also much stronger than Dior Sauvage Parfum. I'm not exaggerating here. I get more projection from Dolce & Gabbana, the one Eau de Parfum, than I do Dior Sauvage Parfum. And no, it's not because I went anosmic to the scent. Some people may think, well, maybe it was there and it was projecting, but you just couldn't smell it anymore. No, that wasn't the case. It just projects like crap. I wore this fragrance to a company mixer about a week ago, and nobody could really pick this up off me. There were over 30 people there. I sprayed this on 7 times before I left. 7 times, a Dior Sauvage fragrance. 7 times. With the Eau de Toilette, I would have been choking people out. When I arrived, the people that I was talking to could barely pick it up at all. A lot of the people there know that I'm into fragrances, they know about the channel, so they were kind of interested in what I was wearing, but they could barely smell it. And by the end of the night, it was an absolute whisper. Barely coming off my skin. And that is gonna lead us into another huge problem with this fragrance, and that is the price. At retail, Dior Sauvage Parfum is $150 US. If you buy that in a store, taxes are going to be factored in. You're going to be looking at over 160 bucks for this size, 100 milliliters. Of course, you could go with the 2-ounce 60 ml size, but I think that one retails at $120. That's not a great deal. At that pricing, $160 for 100 mils, you have entered niche territory. Actually, at that price, you have surpassed niche pricing for a bunch of different niche brands. I did a little bit of research, looked up some niche brands at retail pricing. That way, at least we're comparing retail to retail. And these are some of the houses that Dior Sauvage has either approached or passed in terms of retail pricing. And do understand that this is not exactly apples to apples, because some of these houses have fragrances in smaller bottle sizes. So while Dior Sauvage has passed them in overall price, when you break it down to price per milliliter, Dior Sauvage is a little bit cheaper. So understand that not all of these are apples to apples, but some of them are. And this is not an extensive list. This isn't everything, but these are some of the houses. So 160 bucks US at retail, that can get you fragrances from these houses, plus many more that I'm not going to mention. Masque Milano, Carner Barcelona, Healy, DS and Durga, Montal, Beaufort London, Serge Luton, Diptyque, Zoologist, Parfums Cortana, Andy Tower, Comme des Garçons, Nasamato, Imaginary Authors, Histoire de Parfum, and many more. I just don't want to go on all day. And if we're talking about buying fragrances from discounters, at the price of Dior Sauvage, you can pick up some Creeds, you can pick up Amouage, Eccentric Molecules, Bond No. 9, Parfums de Marly, and many more. It just goes on and on and on, let alone what you can pick up designer-wise. For the price of this at retail, you could pick up 4 really good designers. You're essentially paying $150 US for a darker, more refined version of Sauvage, minus the attention-grabbing ambroxan and pepper and the original Eau de Toilette, and without the performance. And I know you might be thinking, well, I'll just wait until it hits discounters, pick it up then, and then it won't be 150 bucks US. Then it won't be as bad, it won't be as much of a financial hit. The problem is, Dior Sauvage Parfum is going to take a while before it hits discounters, and when it hits discounters, I highly doubt it's actually even going to be discounted. As of this video, which again could always change, Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum is actually more expensive at discounters than it is at retail. Yeah, so if you buy Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum right now, you're better off buying it at retail because the discounters actually have it for like $7 more. So if you end up waiting for this to hit discounters, it may actually not be discounted at all. Here's the deal. If you're buying Dior Sauvage, it's most likely because one of 2 reasons. 1, compliments, or 2, the versatility. The problem with buying Sauvage Parfum for compliments is that after the first 45 minutes or so, it's really hard for anybody to smell you. Unless I guess they're right on top of you, but if they're already right on top of you, you probably don't care about compliments at that point anyway. I would say Dior Sauvage Parfum did not make much of a difference if they're already on top of you. And versatility-wise, yeah, it's versatile, but so is every single other blue fragrance out there. And at the price here, $150 US, add in tax, $160, $165. Like I said just a second ago, you can pick up 4 great designer fragrances for that price. I mean, if you wanted to, you could get a fall, winter, spring, and summer fragrance for the price of this. Or if you want a big mishmash of blue fragrances, you could buy 4 different blue fragrances for the price of this one from a discounter. Now maybe those blue fragrances don't carry the same cachet that Dior Sauvage Parfum does. Maybe you're gonna end up with some stuff like Jimmy Choo Man Blue or Le Male in the navy. But you can still get 4 blue fragrances pretty easily for the price of this one. Though personally, I think it sounds more interesting to get a winter, fall, spring, and summer fragrance. Just one for each season. But if you say that you're buying Dior Sauvage Parfum just for the versatility, I think you're making a mistake, because there are so many other fragrances out there with the exact same amount of versatility this one has that you're not going to be completely screwed and ripped off on price-wise. Now, despite me saying that and saying that you should basically go with something else, it is very versatile. Like I alluded to, the versatility is definitely here. You could basically wear this year-round, day, night, casual, or formal. But when I factor everything in, the pricing, the performance, the smell, it is not worth it. At retail, it's not. That is a heavy purchase price, especially when you consider all of the different fragrances that you can pick up for that price, both at retail and discounters. There's something out there better for you than this one. To me, it's just not really a great release. It smells nice, it definitely does. I like the way it smells, but it projects like trash off my skin. It's very, very expensive. And I think if you really like the Sauvage DNA, the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum are the way to go. Just get those two and wear them in whichever situations you deem them worthy. Basically what Dior has done here is they've slapped Parfum on the front of the bottle to give it a little bit of an air of luxury. So when you see that, you're gonna think, oh, that's a more luxurious version of Dior Sauvage. They amped the pricing way up. They darkened it up a little bit, made it a little bit more refined, rounded the edges off, and put out a subpar fragrance. So there we go, my thoughts on Dior Sauvage Parfum. If you could pick this up for 60 bucks, something like that, it would be an okay pickup at that price, but at 100 bucks more, I can't suggest that you go pick this up. Leave in the comments below what you think about this fragrance, Dior Sauvage Parfum. As always, thanks so much for watching. Thank you for all your support. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time with another fragrance video. See you guys.